In this world of cybersecurity, it's just accelerating constantly, right? Especially with AI changing the game almost daily. How do you actually stay informed, like really informed, without just getting buried in data? It's not just knowing what happened, is it? It's more about why it matters and what might be coming down the line. So today we're going to dive deep into CrowdStrike Holdings, looking at their fiscal second quarter 2026 results and sort of their strategic thinking for what's next. Our goal here, really just to cut through the noise, pull out the important stuff from their recent calls, the SEC filings, figure out what's actually driving things and where they're headed. We'll touch on, their financial rebound, the power behind that Falcon platform, their big bets on AI, identity, SIEM, and you also need to look at that incident they had, get the full picture. All right, let's unpack this first bit. CrowdStrike's talking about a re-acceleration, and they're linking it directly to, quote, AI necessitated demand for Falcon. That's quite a statement. What are the actual numbers telling us? What made Q2 so robust for them?
Yeah, robust seems about right. The numbers really do show a significant pickup in momentum. It wasn't just meeting guidance for Q2 fiscal 26. They beat it pretty comfortably across the key metrics.
Okay.
We're looking at a record for Q2 net new ARR, that's annual recurring revenue, came in at $221 million.
Wow.
Which they said was, double-digit millions better than they expected. And their total ending ARR, that's now $4.66 billion, so more than 20% growth compared to last year.
That's substantial growth.
It is. And it's not just the top-line ARR. Their profitability metrics also hit records. Q2 free cash flow, for example, $284 million. That's a healthy 24% of the revenue. Operating income, also a record, $255 million, or 22% of revenue. And the total revenue grew 21% year over year, hitting $1.17 billion.
Okay.
Subscription revenue, the core of it, $1.10 billion, up 20%. And then non-GAAP net income, another record, $237.4 million. That works out to about 93 cents per share diluted.
So these aren't just abstract figures then. They suggest real market confidence.
Exactly. It feels like validation for their whole AI-powered strategy, right? That the market is buying into it and they're capturing that increased demand.
Got it. So compelling numbers, definitely. But let's get into the how. What's really behind this acceleration? You mentioned the Falcon platform earlier, and also this flex licensing model. Can you break that down? How does that actually work for customers and, drive CrowdStrike's growth?
Right. The flex model seems key here. They have this concept they call the reflex motion. Basically, flex lets customers start with a flexible package, get immediate value.
Okay, makes sense.
But what's really interesting is how fast these customers then expand. On average, they said, it's just 5 months after signing up for flex.
5 months? That's quick.
Yeah. Within 5 months, these customers are already looking to add more modules, consolidate more of their security onto the Falcon platform.
So the initial flexibility leads to deeper commitment.
Precisely. And this reflex thing, it's apparently resulted in almost a 50% uplift in the ending AR, specifically from these flex customers. It's like direct proof that once they're in, they see the value and want more.
Do you have an example of that?
Yeah, they gave a great one, a Fortune 500 software company. They did what CrowdStrike called an 8-figure reflex.
I think figures.
Yeah, a huge expansion. And they did it 18 months before their original Flex subscription was even up for renewal.
Really? So they significantly upgraded way ahead of schedule.
Exactly. They modernized their whole security operations center, their SOC. And get this, they replaced not just a legacy SIEM system, but also a hyperscaler's SIEM offering.
Okay, replacing a hyperscaler is a big deal. Shows real platform strength.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it ties into their broader consolidation push. They hit a new milestone, too. 60% of their customers spending over $100,000 in ARR are now using 8 or more modules on the platform.
8 or more. That's significant platform adoption.
Absolutely. And the stickiness is there, too. Once a customer adopts a module, the renewal rate is apparently over 95%. They just see it integrate into their workflows and stick with it. So this whole model, it's like an engine turning that initial sale into much bigger long-term relationships.
That's a very powerful dynamic. Okay, so platform strength is clear. But looking ahead, where's CrowdStrike focusing its strategic energy? They mentioned AI, identity, and SIEM as areas for, I think the word was dominance. How are they actually tackling these specific markets?
Yeah, those 3 pillars, AI, identity, SIEM, seem central to their longer-term game plan. First, AI. It's almost the foundation now, right? The demand for their AI-powered stuff is just growing, and that lifts the whole business.
Makes sense. It's the buzzword, but seems like real demand here.
Seems like it. Then there's identity. They stress they saw this coming quite early, back in 2020, they said, recognizing identity as a key battleground.
Right, not just endpoints anymore.
Exactly. So they're having success with solutions like their Shield product, displacing older identity tools, and they've made acquisitions too, like in the PAM space, privileged access management, bolstering that identity portfolio.
Okay, so identity is a clear focus. What about SIEM?
Well, that Fortune 500 Reflex example we talked about, that's a prime case of displacing SIEMs.
For sure.
And beyond just winning deals, they're investing strategically. They recently announced the acquisition of Onum Technology. That's for about $290 million, expected to close in Q3.
Onum Technology, what do they do?
They specialize in real-time analysis, specifically on streaming data, which is, absolutely critical for a modern SIEM. It's not just about collecting logs anymore. It's about analyzing that torrent of data instantly.
So this acquisition boosts their SIEM capabilities significantly.
That seems to be the plan. It's not just adding a feature. It's about enhancing that core ability to process and analyze data at speed, find threats faster. These moves, they all feed into this bigger vision they've laid out.
Which is?
Well, first, they're confident they'll well exceed $5 billion in ending ARR by the end of this fiscal year.
Ambitious.
And then the really big one. They believe they're on a path to hit $10 billion in ending ARR by fiscal year 2031.
$10 billion. Okay, that's a major long-term target.
It is. So yeah, they're not just executing now, they're actively shaping the future market in these key areas, investing for that long-term growth.
It's a compelling growth story, for sure. But, it's rarely a perfectly smooth ride. The financial reports also spend quite a bit of time on something called the July 19 incident from 2024.
Yeah.
What exactly happened there, and what's been the fallout?
Right, the July 19th incident, that was definitely a significant event for them. What happened factually was a content configuration update for their main product, the Falcon sensor.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that update caused system crashes on certain Windows systems for, quite a few customers.
Okay. That sounds disruptive.
It was. And the financial impact wasn't trivial. In Q2 of fiscal 26 alone, they booked $35.7 million in expenses directly related to it.
$35 million.
Yeah. And year-to-date, the total cost for outage and related matters and some associated strategic plan charges hit $75.3 million.
$75 million, that's a serious number. How did they respond beyond just fixing the technical issue?
Well, they mentioned making investments in our partners through these programs afterwards. Their narrative is that these investments paid off because they helped maintain high customer retention rates and even contributed to that accelerating net new ARR we discussed.
They tried to make amends financially, perhaps.
It sounds like it. They also introduced specific customer commitment packages, likely things like extending subscription periods, offering credits, that sort of thing, to smooth things over.
Okay, but what about the legal side? An outage like that often leads to lawsuits, right?
It certainly can, and it did here. There have been several legal challenges. Putative class actions filed by customers. Delta Airlines was mentioned as one plaintiff. Also, derivative lawsuits, which typically target the company's officers and directors. And on top of that, they disclosed inquiries from the U.S. Department of Justice and the SEC.
DOJ and SEC, what are they looking into?
It seems related to a few things. Their revenue recognition practices, how they report ARR, and, of course, the incident itself.
So, a multi-front challenge. Where do those legal cases stand now?
There was one development. The district court actually granted CrowdStrike's motion to dismiss the main consolidated class action lawsuit.
Oh, okay. That's a win for them.
It is, but the plaintiffs have appealed that dismissal. So while it was a positive step for CrowdStrike, the legal battle isn't completely over yet. It's still winding its way through the courts.
Got it. So even with that dismissal, the overall cost is significant, nearly $75 million just this year so far, and there's still ongoing legal and regulatory stuff. How much does this whole episode, hang over them? Or is it just a cost of doing business at this scale?
That's really the key question, isn't it? On one hand, look at the financial results, strong growth, record ARR, record profit, despite this major cost hit. That shows remarkable resilience.
Sure. The number held up.
But on the other hand, you have ongoing scrutiny from the DOJ and SEC, and that appeal is still active. It means the reputational risk, the customer trust aspect that needs ongoing management. It definitely shows that even the big players can stumble operationally.
Yeah.
Their response seems to have mitigated the immediate financial fallout in terms of customer churn based on their retention numbers. But it adds this layer of, let's say, operational risk and legal complexity that investors and customers will be watching closely. It's not derailing them now, but it's not entirely in the rearview mirror either.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Beyond the growth and navigating challenges, let's talk about the engine itself, operational efficiency. How are they managing things internally? And did recent tax changes play any role?
Yeah, they're definitely focused on efficiency alongside growth. You see it in the operating margin, came in at 22%, which was better than their own forecast. They're committed to profitable growth, as they put it.
Right. And where's the revenue coming from geographically?
It's still majority U.S., about 67% in Q2. The other 33% is international. But interestingly, they mentioned that year-over-year growth actually accelerated in both the U.S. and EMEA, so broad-based demand.
Good to see international growth picking up, too.
Definitely. And all this contributes to their cash position. They ended the quarter with a record $4.97 billion in cash and equivalents, so a very strong balance sheet.
Nearly $5 billion in cash.
Wow. Okay. And the tax reform piece, how did that fit in?
Right. There was significant U.S. tax reform, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, they noted, enacted July 4th, 2025.
Okay, what did that change? A few key things relevant here. It permanently brought back the ability to immediately deduct domestic R&D costs, which is huge for tech companies. Also, 100% accelerated depreciation or bonus depreciation, and some complex changes to international tax rules like GILTI and BEAT.
And the impact on CrowdStrike.
Well, on their actual income tax expense for the quarter, they said the effect was immaterial, mostly because of existing valuation allowances they carry.
Okay, so no big immediate tax bill change.
Not on the provision line, no. But they did note a favorable effect on cash flows. Basically, lower actual cash tax payments going forward because of these changes.
So it helps their cash flow, even if the accounting expense doesn't change much yet.
Exactly. And partly because of this, they actually lowered their non-GAAP tax rate assumption going forward.
Right.
They reduced it from 22.5% down to 21.0%. They mentioned it reflects the sort of anticipated benefit of earning income internationally while keeping their core IP in the U.S. under the new rules. So, yeah, it shows how they're managing not just operations, but also financial strategy around policy changes to boost their overall financial health.
That makes sense. Okay, so as we kind of pull back and look at the whole picture, the growth, the platform, the AI focus, handling the incident, efficiency gains, tax changes, what's the bigger context here for you, the listener? What else should we be thinking about with CrowdStrike moving forward?
Well, it's crucial to keep the competitive landscape in mind. It's intense out there. They're up against huge established players, but also nimble new entrants. And the pace of tech change, especially with AI, is just relentless. Staying ahead is a constant battle.
Right. Innovation isn't optional.
Not at all. And tied to that is talent. Like any tech leader, they rely heavily on their key people. Attracting and, maybe more importantly, retaining top cybersecurity talent in this market is a huge ongoing challenge.
Always a factor in tech.
What else? The regulatory environment, it's a minefield, honestly. You've got GDPR in the EU, the UK's own data laws now, the EU's Digital Services Act, NIS2 for critical infrastructure, DORA for financial services. It's complex and constantly shifting. Compliance isn't cheap, especially when you're dealing with global data flows and now, increasingly, AI governance rules. That's a significant overhead and risk factor.
Yeah, the compliance burden is real.
And finally, just the basic reality check. Like any business, their results can swing based on the economy, typical seasonal buying cycles in enterprise software, or, unforeseen events like that July incident proved. It's important to see the impressive growth, but also understand these external pressures and inherent complexities they're navigating. It gives you a more complete picture.
It's never just a straight line up. Okay, so wrapping this up, we've seen CrowdStrike's strong financial rebound really fueled by that Falcon platform stickiness and the whole reflex motion. Clear strategic bets on AI, identity, and SIEM. They navigated a major operational challenge with the July 19th incident, absorbing significant costs but seemingly maintaining momentum, and they're leveraging things like tax reform for financial efficiency. As they keep pushing towards that big $10 billion ARR target, juggling innovation, intense growth, and all this complexity, it leaves us with a question for you, the listener. Thinking about everything we discussed, how do you see this ongoing push of AI reshaping not just the cybersecurity industry itself, but maybe the whole idea of what platform consolidation really means in the coming years? Something to think about.